Are you open? What do you think, what's role is African sustainable trade playing in the vocational sector? Do you think it's an interesting place to have a conversation? Is there any projects or some level of assistance that you're offering?
If you could repeat the question, it wasn't clear.
Okay, so for the African sustainable trade, my question is, in the TVET sector, because we've talked about jobs digitally, but I'm also very interested in the vocational space. Is there anything the African sustainable trade is doing?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Okay, my name is Amara Chukwuokokoro. I'm the founder of Iruka Africa Foundation. Okay, so my question is in two parts. So with my foundation, we're creating clubs and going to different secondary schools and putting things together. So my question is, with going to high-risk areas, how can we go about that? Because we have volunteers that, may not want to go to those areas. But then how do we train, how do we connect with people that are there and then possibly train them with the curriculum that I definitely understand the things that were mentioned. And with us also thinking of a plan of trying to cultivate these clubs in campuses, like university campuses as well, what way can we fix that problem of, okay, you're already in school, you already have a course that you may not like, so what can we do at that level for people that are already there? So, thank you.
Much. Yes, the lady with glasses here.
Great discussion so far. My question is directed at the representative from ILO, but please, any other members of the panel to kindly feel free to weigh in. So my name is Fabio Ogumeko. I'm a gender and development consultant. I also sit on the advisory board of the CARE think tank, which is an organization promoting the rights of domestic workers. And I want to raise this particular conversation because this is a gender, but a lot of them are also young. So the ILO provides, I think that 81%, they play a crucial role in supporting families and also supporting working women to ensure that they stay in the workplaces and they thrive. And so my question is, Nigeria is not a signatory to the ILO Convention 189, which provides for decent work for domestic care workers. And as an organization, how are you incorporating this group of young female and as an informal workforce into your work and advocacy around decent work? I'm aware that there is a new bill making its rounds at the National Assembly on the documentation and protection of domestic workers and employers, and I'm wondering what role you're playing in that. Thank you.
Fourth question. Yes, ladies' hands there. Okay.
Because I've been raising my hand since the last panel out. It seems when you are sitting there, you don't look at this side. My name is Dr. Omar Garba. I'm the Commissioner for Education in Adamawa State. Perhaps I'm talking as part of the transitional generation. I call myself as part of the transitional generation because I have seen the recent past and I'm in the present. There's so much that has happened to the world in the last 35 years that the changes and the speed they took place is more than what must have happened to the world before that time in the 300 years behind the 35 years. So much is happening with technology, so much is happening with solutions to problems. So I stand here to speak as somebody who has just left the analog and is in the digital.
Yeah, welcome.
So we are a lucky generation because a lot of people, the children of today, did not see the analog. And those who died before us didn't see are not seeing the digital. When you are talking about reskilling, there is a component of it that is often forgotten, and it's partly why we are where we are. Part of the soft skill that requires character and integrity We have a lot of talented young men with talent, with ability to solve problems, with skills, but don't have character, don't have integrity. That is why the ladies here can attest. You have tailors all over, but if you can sew your clothes 2 times. When you go there today, tomorrow you are angry with this one. The same thing with mechanics. You see them all over. Give them your vehicle to fix 1, 2 The third time you don't come back again. Character, integrity. That is part of what will affect even our ability to export talents and skills beyond Nigeria and Africa. Wisdom has just mentioned something, that the youth are rugged. The youth have ability to, survive every situation. With all these things, your market should be beyond Nigeria, your market should be beyond Africa. But unfortunately, an image has been created that we don't have good character. And that is why we are not even patronized internationally. So we have a role to play. The government, that is the public sector, the private sector, and development partners. It's good that we are having this conversation at this stage, but we need to work on first handling that soft side of our skill, that is the character and deliberately building that aspect into our curriculum. Then we also need to work on the image of the country and the continent. Because we can have as much as good hands. If we are good and truly good, and if the world recognizes that, we must be able to be seen in such a way that we can be trusted enough to go anywhere in the world and work. The market is beyond Nigeria, the market is beyond Africa. That is one. The other issue I want to also quickly raise is perhaps there's something that has to do with gender mainstreaming and gender roles. The society has created that thinking that there are roles generally reserved for our girl child. Let me quickly say, before I came here I came in last 2 days. I have a daughter who is 9 years old. And
okay, sir, you would have to wrap up.
Let me quickly say this because it's very important.
Okay, in a minute.
This daughter of 9 years old was conversing with her mother, and the mother was telling her that you are now growing to a lady at night. You are always with your computer. It's high time you stop patronizing, reduce the time for this computer, and be with me in the kitchen so that you start learning how to cook because you are a lady. And she said, okay, mom. Then she walked up to me and said, Daddy, can you hear your wife? She doesn't know that my generation is not her own generation. We are not meant to be in the kitchen, and this computer, she's shouting at me and telling me to stop. I'm designing an app that will cook and serve people food. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So we'll be returning to the panel. Dr. Amma, in 1 minute, can you just respond to your question? We're really out of time.
Oh, you're going to have to repeat that question because I think the young man was asking me about how...
Okay, he was asking how Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
The young man.
He's not here. Do you invest in vocational skills?
Do we as a company invest in vocational skills? So I have to, it will take me longer than a minute to explain what Africa's sustainable trade is about, but I agree that vocational skills are important, and I am concerned being shut down or converted into universities because not every job requires a university degree. The reality is some of the most successful, quotation successful people in the world are actually outliers, and outliers are not necessarily university educated, but they're determined, hardworking, focused, and they put over 100, actually about 10,000 hours into that thing. It's like the young lady probably 9,000 hours, and she'll get it right, and then it will go out into the market and people will invest in it. So our goal at Africa Sustainable Trade is looking at specific sectors. So we're looking at renewable energy, agriculture, mining, and a few others. And specifically, to be honest, we're actually looking at waste to energy. And we believe that there is a model in Denmark that will provide energy to Nigeria, which will then change the landscape digitally, and that will bring about jobs, and those jobs will range from entry level all the way to specialist. And within that spectrum, I have no idea what happened to the microphone, but I'll use yours. Thank you. And within that range, not only are you employing youthful younger people, or should I say older people since I'm the youngest here, but you're also going to develop skill sets that will enable you to have decent work, enable you to continue to educate yourself, because education is lifelong, but most importantly, it will begin to close the gap for underemployment and unemployment, because of the skills that you would need do not require you go to university. And I want to say this, I am an educationist by training. I agree with my panelists. The educational system needs to be revamped. Education is about preparing you for life, preparing you for the job market, preparing you to be an entrepreneur. And so we need to change how we educate, and it needs to have more of a practical component. And we need members of the private sector and the government coming in to teach young people the skills and to share the avenues of the work that they're doing, so it becomes more relevant to the young people as well as to those who are sharing, because again, it's intergenerational. I hope that answers the question. If it doesn't, I'll be around and I will share a bit further. So the word I'm going to say is, please stop asking for help, but ask for how you can collaborate and partner.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Amma. Dr. Vanessa, you have 3 questions. Can you answer that in 2 minutes?
Yes, I will try. In terms of the ILO role in the development of the TVET system, of course, for us, this is not a role that we take lightly, because even in our centenary declaration for the next 100 years of the ILO, the issue of skills development and the collaboration with the TVET sector is very critical. So for example, in Ghana, we have worked with the TVET system in establishing the sector skills bodies. And these are the bodies that are responsible for articulating the core skills that each sector requires in order to meaningfully contribute to the economic development of any country. Either agriculture, manufacturing, automobile, beauty, you name it, we have these bodies to drive and inform the skills that are needed. Because, you know, if there's one thing that COVID taught us, is that many of us with our beautiful degrees, we were sitting at home trying to virtual work, but the people with the skills were still out there making a living because their skills were needed and they were relevant at that point. So the contribution of the TVET sector is very, very important in that space, and this is something that we are continuing to work. We also have a sub-regional network of these TVET institutions in ECOWAS and Africa, so that they can share experiences, share knowledge, and co-create common standards. And as we know that many of domestic workers are also in the informal sector, in addressing that becomes very critical. Thank you, and sorry I was too brief.
All right, thank you very much. That was 4 minutes. So, Rosamond, on behalf of the young people on the panel, your last words in 30 seconds.
I would say your skill, your character, and your competence are not just only your tools of trade, they're your greatest tools of export. Use them wisely.
Wisdom in 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll just say something to girls and young women: be audacious, take up space, you belong there.
And Charles, 30 seconds, your last words on the panel.
for me, it's just to say thank you on behalf of Plan International. This is the reason why we sought for this panel, so that we could have this conversation. So for us, we want to continue this conversation. We want to extend it, both here in this conference by our stand, and as we leave here, please meet us. Let's talk and co-create opportunities for young people. That's why we exist for Plan International. And I believe you also have those interests. So let's meet, let's talk, let's negotiate, and let's build something beautiful. Thank you.
All right, and to the beautiful audience, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your engagement. Sorry we couldn't take all your questions and all your comments, but you can meet the panelists outside here. But if you love the panelists and you enjoyed the conversation and it was insightful, please give them a round of applause. Thank you very much.
All right, let's have some pictures. Thank you so much to a fantastic panel and fantastic moderator. Photographers, take some pictures of the participants. Round of applause as they exit the stage. That was a fantastic conversation. Thank you all so much. All right, we keep it moving. Hope you guys are keeping score as far as the great conversations we've had so far. Displaced individuals, we've now talked about the youth. And next up is climate action, sustainable climate financing, getting promising solutions to scale. So if you're in this space, this is definitely a panel that you want to listen to so you can know what you need to do to get financing. So let's have our moderator, Bankole Oluruntova, who is the CEO of Nigeria Climate Innovation Center. Here he is. A round of applause to Bankole as he takes the stage to moderate his panel. Bankole, you're welcome. Fantastic. Take your first chair to your right. All right, up next, Lolade Awobade, who is the Assistant Vice President at Sustainability at the Development Bank of Nigeria. That's definitely somebody you better clap for her because she's going to finance your deals. You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We also have Dele Fasimo, who's the Divisional Head Energy at Sterling Bank. Yes, Dele is with us. Here he is coming to the stage right now. Round of applause to Dele as he joins us. Dele, you're very welcome. We should have an online participant, Gumale Nerfix, who is the president at SPIE, which is SPIE Global Services Energy. He should actually be joining us online. But Bankole, you're all set. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you for staying this long for for our session, and hopefully we can be able to share a few insights about climate finance and how to be sustainable in either accessing, maintaining, and as well scaling climate finance possibilities across Africa. There's been so many conversations over the years around the possibilities of a climate economy in Africa. Quoting the former vice president who was instrumental in setting up the Nigeria Climate Innovation Centre, Africa really contributes quite a little to global emissions. And the reason is very simple. We are not industrializing as much as we should. And again, this is in turn going to have a deeper impact on all the different mineral resources. Can we get some silence, please? Thank you. Yes. Thank you. So that will also help in also understanding all the different possibilities in our markets. What sort of possibilities are there? What is the valuation? Where is the what, the why, the when, for whom? So on our panel here, we'll be trying to explain and also share some insights on all the different possibilities and how my panel members have been contributing to the scale of a viable green economy in Africa. In the last decade, or rather a few years ago, the African Development Bank, AFDB, explained that it will need about $2 trillion cumulative funding, $2 trillion cumulative funding when it comes to, expanding and scaling the climate economy in Africa. And this cuts across almost every sector. And what this does for us is that it also helps us to amplify and also accelerate the possibilities of jobs. And many other issues regarding scaling economies also affects the possibility of having access to this. Now, with so much interest and conversations on how Africa needs FDI and foreign direct investment, the question again still continues to baffle me, and I asked that question tonight, saying that why? Why should people invest in us? Are we capable of being invested in? What sort of policies do we have? How functional are these policies? What sort of instruments are currently within the system? If we want to have a larger pot, what have we contributed to this system? Who are those who are playing within the system, and what have they done so far? All what we're asking about the why is basically from a market possibility perspective. One of the speakers here said that we should stop asking for help or aid, rather we should talk about what we can contribute. Now, if you're not on the menu, you are the menu. If we want more businesses, we should be able to show which ones currently exist. If we want more green finance inflows, we need to also show where the existing ones are currently going to. And also, what sort of data systems do we have? You can't tell me to give you money without telling me why, and without telling me for what. So, my panel this afternoon will be sharing more of possibilities and insights and not problems. The problems have not changed in the last 5 years. The problems are the same thing that you're currently thinking. And I'm sure out of 100 people, we are likely thinking the same thing. And I'm sure if I ask you, you can tell me 3 basic problems that all of us can align with. So tonight we'll be learning, or rather asking questions: how supportive are our policies? What sort of instruments do we have? And who are the major players and what are they doing? I have with me Lolade from Development Bank of Nigeria, and also I have Dele from Sterling Bank. We're going to be talking about money and how money can come and what do we do with the kind of money that we have access to. So, Lolade, I think I'll start with you first. Ladies first, they say. Yeah. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations to DBN on the GEF accreditation. Green finance is a very important thing across the world. DBN has been leading conversations around green finance strategies for Nigeria, trying to stimulate the market and co. So, this accreditation, why should we be happy with you? Okay. Like, you've been telling us you are now accredited. We should all celebrate, which we are saying well done. But now the question is, why should we be happy? And how does this really matter to us as a country?
Thank you so much, Bankole, and good afternoon to the House. DBN is super excited to be on this panel today for a number of reasons. One, we are a solution provider, and we'll be talking a bit about the work that we've done and what we've got planned for the future, which is where the GCF accreditation conversation comes in. But before then, and we tend to do this when we are given the opportunity to speak to any audience, is to